Welcome to the GAC Weekly After Dark. I am Joey McWilliams, and I am alongside Eric Moyer. And by the way, if you were wondering why we were a little bit after 7:30 tonight, I'm going to go ahead and throw the blame directly to the person to my right on the monitor. So there you are. There it's
my fault.
It's all about him.
It was work-related delays. We were going to expand the brand, grow the channel, and possible future endeavors going forward.
That's right. And as we were talking about this tonight, by the way, let me introduce my guest, Eric Moyer, who is the Associate Commissioner for Communications at the Great American Conference. There it is, Eric Moyer, right there, GAC. He is official GAC staff. And I have a staff card, Eric. I have an official GAC staff card too. So
those, if I had my wallet, I could show you what they look. But those are hard to come by. Those are harder than like Subway Gold cards.
Is it like a golden ticket? Is that what it is?
It's like everywhere free. So I mean,
okay.
Is that like a gold? Is that you can't buy anything with it? But
I didn't know if it would get me into the chocolate factory or where it would get me. It'll get me into GAC games though. Unfortunately, that's what it is. Right now we are in the time of no sports. That is what I have determined this to be, the mystical time of no sports. Hashtag time of no sports. And day 3, I think, for a lot of folks, if you want to consider pretty much it all went down on Thursday, then as we were picking up the pieces on Friday, here we are on a Sunday night. It is day 3 of the, again, what did you do? Hashtag.
Like this.
Hashtag. Okay. I can do that.
Board.
Okay. Well, I've got a daughter who went to Oklahoma City University, and she can make a star.
Speaking of Oklahoma City, we've got news related to them.
We do have news related to that, so that's something we can talk about tonight too. So let's get right on into it. It is after dark now where Eric is in Nashville, and where I am in Oklahoma. I looked out the window just a moment ago. It's pretty close to after dark, so we're going to go ahead and call this a GAC Weekly After Dark right now. So we will talk about that. Look, a lot going on. Obviously, it is the time of no sports. And we're going to talk about sports anyway. And by the way, that is the motto here on MidwestSports.net, which is the home of the GAC Weekly. We are going to keep talking about sports until we get sports back. No matter how long or how short that is, we're going to keep talking about sports. So please tune in, because the YouTube channel, which, by the way, I'm encouraging you to subscribe to, is going to have a lot of content with fantastic folks like Eric Moyer, who knows a lot about what's going on in the Great American Conference. So, Eric, on Thursday, let's go back just a little bit. On Thursday, when all of this just seemed to cascade and spiral out of control, what were you doing at GAC headquarters?
Well, we were crafting probably a first draft of a release that was going to deal with a much more temporary halt of play. That was probably looking at it was going to be 3 weekends worth. So everybody's going to take this weekend that just passed and the next 2 off. And I think we're going to look at that would have put us to March 30th, which has been a common date that people have been using right now. Of halting play and then everybody reconvening on March 30th. This was about 2:30. Everyone's gonna release it about 5-6 o'clock league wide. And Will and I had crafted a draft, and it was all set to go, and everybody had it queued up, ready to go. And then about 3:15, everybody started. We had a group text thread of all the SIDs saying the NCAA has canceled everything. What do you mean everything? Because I am at Costco at this point, buying up the last remaining toilet paper and hand sanitizer left in the state. It's all gone. So then I was like, well, what? So then I go and someone sends me the link about the NCAA, and then immediately that puts me into we're scrapping that draft. Come home and get on our own mini call with Audra, Will, and myself to discuss what's next. And that then leads to there's going to be a 6 p.m. conference call with all the presidents and admin. And I know you've spoken to, Sean Jones,
right.
On this platform and others, other venues to just learn how that went down. And that's kind of we all came up to the conclusion of the indefinite suspension, which is where we've landed, and where basically more and more leagues and almost everybody has landed on. To this point, so like I said, use the still term indefinite suspension. Others have used the straight cancellation. So it does allow us wiggle room to come and look back and see what happens. And that was all kind of how Tuesday or Thursday 2:30 to about 6:45 played out.
Yeah, I still like the word indefinite. I really do. I really like the word indefinite. Now, just coming up on my feed on social media, talking about 8 weeks now of, and I need to verify this, 8 weeks of a national moratorium of public gatherings, which again, I want to verify that. But I still like the indefinite, Eric, because it does give you the wiggle room to say, hey, we can come back to something if we look at it and go, this is not as dire, it's not as bad as what is there. No, yeah, if it is, then it is.
Yeah, and if it runs a course in 4 weeks and people start to see everybody's talking about the curve flattening out, not speaking out of turn here, but it does, at least we did not set the hard and fast cancellation. Yeah, I did see interpret that way, but so we still have options.
I did see another Division II conference come out today with canceling the remainder of the spring sports as well. So 2019, 2020 is in the books according to that conference. So, I mean, it's even on a Sunday afternoon, we're still getting more information coming down. And that was one of the weirdest things about Thursday too. Just like you said, I mean, that the timeline that you gave from, not really an outsider's perspective, but I wasn't in the room with you all talking about these things, but on the outside looking in, everything was changing by the hour. I mean, you get something here and then, okay, and no crowds, but we'll still play the games. And now this is something else. You have to be an immediate family, and we're just wiping it out entirely. It was tough to keep up with trying to post the news.
Yeah. I mean, you can even go back, being in Oklahoma. I mean, obviously you were your state was the epicenter for all the cancellations with the Oklahoma City Thunder and Rudy Gobert. That's what, 9, let me see the sites that like 9:27, that game is halted. 9:31, I think, is where the NCAA starts, or the NBA puts it its rule. Once the NBA made a stance that strong, you knew everyone else was going to come up with similar solutions or similar responses, because if you're the one sport out there that has games and it's found out days or weeks later that at your venue something happened, then just the amount of ridicule you're subjected to is just it's hard to quantify. So everyone fell in line, and then you get to Thursday morning, and you see, like I was, being at home and having just waiting to see what's going on. You see like all these noon tip-offs for conference tournaments, and then it seemed like all like 10:45ish. This is the Central Time. Big Ten canceled, SEC canceled, ACC canceled, AAC canceled, and I guess like what was it, the Big East like played a half of a game.
Yeah.
And then, so they must have had so many eyeballs for that first. Like, sports, thank you. We're all going to watch whoever that was. Was it crazy?
Exactly.
I don't know, but then everything was just shut down. And but there's still golf. So no one knows anything about golf. Is turned over to the Golf Channel to watch the first round of the players. Like, all right, it's outdoors, makes sense. And then they were done.
And it's funny too, Eric, because the Golf Channel was breaking news. That was where I was trying to chase down the whole story about the NCAA and eligibility and how this is going to go. And news media outlets were quoting one another without a source. That was the source. I mean, they were quoting each other as their source. And at one point, I actually chased down a story and finally it was broken by the Golf Channel. And I'm guessing the reason is because, just like you said, that's what everyone was watching.
Right. They had all the eyeballs that afternoon. It was just like I said, a crazy day. And then that leads to the athletes have nowhere to go. So they're all going to their, social platforms, and you see, our release, if you go to see how it was posted on Facebook, understandably, no, how can you do this? This is done with my favorite. This was done with no thought.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah. That's right. Bill was just sitting back watching the ACC basketball and said, put my thumb on this one, just wipe out everybody's seasons. But
that didn't happen like that. I know.
Right. I was confident that that there would be more. Obviously, you can't put out every fire right away. So you put this in, then you go to the next step about eligibility, the next step about future, and that's kind of what we're all working through is step by step. Everybody wants to get to that end step right away. Right. These things do take time to play. It is not easy to get 30 admins on a call, let alone with the NCAAs who are getting all their councils together. It takes time to put all these things in place. So hopefully people are kind of understanding that the answers all they want, but answers will follow. It's not going to be like an NCAA, violations investigation that takes 18 months. These things have to be resolved somewhat quickly. And I think that, seeing how on, Friday afternoon about 5:00 is when we saw the eligibility for the spring athletes restored. And that was, if you go and look again at our posting about it and just retweeting the comment, it's one of the most favorite things we've got because people are first saying, thank you, this is good news. And then B, what about winter athletes, which is something that they're now gonna have to comb through because each division was at different stages, even within Division I. Right. Some leagues, the smaller leagues, had finished their conference tournament. So we knew that there's just one OVC team affected for the NCAAs. There might be an NIT bid. There's only one, or nearly one West Coast Conference team known to be affected. While the ACC or the Big 12 or, SEC, except for the two teams that lost in their, the playing games, all of them still could be eligible. So they've got a lot of things to work out, of restoring eligibility. Obviously, at our level, at Division II, it was just the 64 teams left including at regionals. So they've got answers. So there's a lot of machinations they have to go through, and I, am sympathetic to everyone that had their seasons pulled away. I know, like I said, it's just because it was our league, and talking to Sean Jones at Henderson about, their kids, going up and ready to play that regional in Maryville. And that's just one of, again, 64 examples, probably in theory 128 with the men's and women's tournaments of people that just had their seasons pulled away from them. Your heart just breaks for all of them, because, this is the first year we sent 4 to the men's side. Right. First year for Southeastern's women in a long time going. They're not, they're not all Northwest Missouri. We're not all parental powers. They can just kind of say, we'll get back next year. Who's to say? So it's just the worst week for athletes just to have these seasons, ended without it being decided on the court.
Right. And with student athletes like you're talking about, I think the best way to put it, that their season ended. They played their last game without knowing they played their last game. Yep. And that I think was as tough to swallow, I'm sure, for them as anything. It really was. So yeah, it was heartbreaking on Thursday. It continues to be a little bit of a well, more than a little bit of a challenge. It's tough to take, but we're going to get through it. It is now officially the time of no sports. So we're just going to, but again, we are going to keep talking sports right here, and we do have some things to talk about in the GAC. So let's go ahead and let me pull up a tab right now here, Eric, if I can.
Visit our website. We need the hits. Read.
I need those hits. I need those hits too. So yeah, let's see if I can pull this one up here. How about?
There are so many things up there. There's upwards of 3. Hey,
how about it? How about that one? You like that one?
I do.
All region teams. 3 from the GAC that have made the all region team. Eric, talk about that.
Yeah, this was Thursday afternoon's news.
Supposed to be.
I'm sorry?
Supposed to be?
Yeah, this actually was legitimately Thursday afternoon's news before, because we try and do these all regions the day before region play. And so there with Bernija Tidwell, Katie Webb, and Tyra Aska, they were among the 10 athletes voted within the region to be all region players. Katie and Bernija making the first team, so that puts them eligible now to be All-America candidates going forward. And these are the awards voted on by SIDs around the region, and then nationally when it gets to that point. And I would point out that the region coordinator is Doug Self at Southwestern. So he was logging the work to put out this story Thursday. And then next week, when we do the All-American Awards, you're looking at the national coordinator for the women's basketball All-America team. So
hey, how about that?
I still have work to do. I'm not totally done just yet. But a great honor for all three of them. Katie, I think this was their second time being an all-region player. Totally deserving of it being our player of the year and leading our team to the national tournament. Like I said, amongst, if you look at the Division I level, everybody talks about Dayton and Obi Topham being the field they feel the worst for because of how his season was. Katie ranks
Katie
right
Webb
for us with all of her comebacks from injuries to put her team in position to be in a national championship tournament. She's right up there for me for who you wanted to see their season end, on the court. This is taking nothing away from anybody else, but amongst equals, you have to think about her right near the top.
All things being equal, and very rarely are all things equal, but I agree with you. I would put her up there. Well, you can see now we have the men that made the all-region team from the Great American Conference. So talk about them. Now, I know there were 4 men, by the way, 3 pictured right there.
Yeah, that is the beauty of having 1 on the first team and 3 on the second team there. 4 from this region from this conference made the all-region team. Jonathan Dunn, our player of the year, was a runaway selection for the first team. And then I'd put these 3 on my team any day for the second team, and Kevin Buckingham, Micah Spate, and Adam Dworsky. Just if you go and look at the all-region team on the first team, it's impossible to take off one of them and put one of our. As much as I wanted to fight for them all to be on the first team, you got. I'm going to get names wrong, but I think it's Cleary by Minnesota. He leads the nation in scoring. He's the Division II all-time active leading scorer.
Right.
He's on the first team. The kid from Missouri Southern, who was so good last year in the regionals.
Cam Martin.
Yep, and he had that epic head-to-head with Buckingham last second round. He's on there. The Northwest Missouri kid who's an undefeated team, you can't pull him off. And then I guess there's one from Duluth. We're all in a pinpoint one. Let's take the kid from Duluth off and put on any of these 3 if I can be greedy and put 2 in the second team because, like I said, only the first team becomes eligible for All-American honors. So these 3 will their postseason accolades ended all region from the D2 CCA side of things. They can certainly be eligible for the NABC awards, and I believe it's the Basketball Times also put out All-American teams down the road. But just great honors for all 4 of them. They all 4 were all part of teams head to Maryville. It would have been a stacked regional up there. So yeah, I said they all are very worthy recipients of this honor.
I think so too. And before we go to the other news that has come about into the weekend, and news that was breaking on Friday, which is a big deal here within the state of Oklahoma, I felt like for sure, and with implications in the GAC as well. But it was a big deal to put 4 teams from the Great American Conference in the men's bracket.
Yeah, it was the first time we'd ever had 4. We only even had 3 one other time, and that was 2017 with, ironically enough, 3 totally different teams. That year it was Tech, Monticello, and East Central. Now we had 4 in with Oklahoma Baptist, Southern Nazarene, Henderson, and Southeastern. And I believe, I think it was Coach Morgan at Harding had done the math. Since Quincy became a league, we've had 9 different schools make the NCAA tournament. You can even just start at 2017. 16, where you also add Harding's participation and Ouachita. So in the last 5 years, we've had 9 different schools make it, which just speaks to the balance of the league. And this year, you saw it with the power rankings that Massey puts out. We were ranked, I think it was either first in the men's, second in the women's, or we were 1-2 in the 2 divisions. So it was really just a banner year for us in basketball. And to have them recognized as the 4 getting in, Oklahoma Baptist losing in our final, they were right on the bubble when they got the 8th spot. There were some people on this podcast or this broadcast who did not think we were going to get 4 in there.
You're right. There was a person on this podcast that thought, yeah, exactly right. Go ahead and point that direction. I'll go ahead and I'll take that. I really thought that the Great American Conference would get 3 in. I really thought with OBU losing in that championship game that it might be on the outside looking in, and you were right. So I will give you credit where credit is due.
We were fortunate there was chalk in the other 2 leagues, and again, I haven't asked anybody about it, so I may be speaking wildly off base here, but I do think that Oklahoma Baptist had beaten Southern Nazarene twice, the number 2 team in the region. That looking for an ultimate tiebreaker, that's something that I think had to carry the weight for them getting that final spot. I don't know if any other 8th team has as good of wins as that. Beyond that, I think they split with Southeastern. They seemingly got wins all throughout our league against good teams. They had a great conference schedule. I think our coaches did a masterful job of scheduling this year, combining wins within region wins with elite wins. That would set us up to be in that good a position for that 4th spot.
Yeah, it was a big win. Well, and that second win against Southern Nazarene came, in the conference tournament. So that was a big deal. I mean, it was on display for everyone to see at that point in time too. That was I think a big part of it.
Yeah, and I believe it's right. I think it's Coach Baxter, Keith Baxter, the AD at Southeastern, is on the committee. So beyond being there to watch his women win the tournament, he's out there watching, our 4 teams compete to the very end. And the fact that he got to see it all in person, it can't hurt. Right. Does it make the final tiebreaker? No, but as opposed to just seeing scores from the Northern Sun of the MIAA, to see all 4 of our teams there, in competition, see just the high level those games were. It just had to help as that lasting impression, put in front of the committee.
Well, then let's talk about news that's come out, because we're talking sports here during the hashtag Time of No Sports, and we're going to keep on talking sports on MidwestSports.net and right now on the GAC Weekly After Dark with Eric Moyer, who is the Associate Commissioner for Communications in the GAC. Eric, news coming out of Shawnee.
Yes, Friday afternoon. Normally, some might accuse it of being the Friday news dump. This time, Friday legit news. Oklahoma Baptist bringing over Bo Overton from Oklahoma City to take over the helm there.
Women's basketball.
Yeah, women's basketball. Yeah, they're not replacing the men's coach anytime soon. Last I checked. But yeah, to bring Coach Overton over.
Coach Aker may be watching tonight, so let's make sure that you're not taking his job away from him while
very true.
On the
air. Beyond knowing Coach Aker, I know his mentor, Coach Hoffman. I promise you, I'm not trying to give away his job. Sorry. No,
I was just going to say that's a really big hire if you consider, folks in D2 may not know all about Oklahoma City University and of course the success, 9 national champions in women's basketball, which is a big deal. And Coach Overton was a part of one of those in 2017, runner-up finish in 2019. And I believe, and this is a personal opinion, I believe well on their way to potentially picking up another national championship in 2020. Number 1 team in the country pretty much throughout the year. So, that's a really big hire for Oklahoma Baptist.
Yeah, and we've seen, again, the level of new coaches is doing a great job on the women's side. Coming in, Coach Long at UM in his first year brought him up to 20 wins in the final of our tournament last week. Coach Collins at SAU in his second year there got him to 17 wins. So there's our bottom. You don't stay at the bottom very long with the right hires. And I know that Oklahoma Baptist has a long history of success. Right. Coach Bays carried that on from the NAIA period into the NCAA level. They had some postseason success in that transition period and got our team to the conference tournament one time. But this year, their record indicated that it was time to part ways, and I can't see anybody being I don't know. I'm trying to say, can't see him doing a better job in finding a replacement with Coach Overton with the success he's had at Oklahoma City.
Right. And he knows the area too. And I know one of the big things about what we've talked about this during the Great American Conference basketball tournament so many times. I have Michael Westbrook sitting next to me. We've talked about this. The fact that the rosters on these teams in the 6 Oklahoma schools in the Great American Conference, the 6 Arkansas schools in the Great American Conference have rosters that are made up of so many in-state players that it's a testament to how much quality there is in state within these two states, but to be able to bring them in and they find ways to find success. I mean, it was shown no better than what Southwestern did last year, Coach Kelsey Music squad, and every player but one on that roster was a player that had come directly to the school from an Oklahoma high school. And it was just, and they made it to the national championship game, put together 35 game win streak, in the middle of it. So really it's a testament to that.
And even when they branch out, you dig right into Texas or Louisiana, you're not, stretching out to the Northeast or the Southeast or the West. You are staying in this hub. You want people that, it's a drive for their parents to come see, or grandparents, or old high school classmates. And I think that they've all found that's the key to success with these schools. You look at the success that Arkansas Tech or Harding have had. They draw so much local. Southwestern, as you pointed out, that they've all unlocked that key. And I think it's a factor there not being so many Division I schools in these two states. There are more in Oklahoma than in Arkansas, but going to like the 5th most high-profile school in Oklahoma might well be Southwestern or Southern Nazarene, or in Oklahoma it could be going to Arkansas Tech or Harding. It's not like places like Ohio that has a dozen, 15, 18 Division I schools that you can choose from, or Illinois, or obviously the California or Georgia, where there's so many Division I schools that you can compete for. That, like I said, the equivalent school is in our conference, and we're getting a great number of talented kids to come and succeed and excel in our league, and we benefit from it.
And it has definitely been a benefit to the GAC. And of course, again, we've talked about it with 2 teams making the Central Regional Tournament on the women's side this year. Southwestern making that fantastic run last year to the national championship game, 1 rebound away, really, from taking home the national title. I know we've talked about that over and over again. I don't know if Haley or Hayden are watching this right now, but I think they're tired of me mentioning that. So I may have to put that away.
Again, we have it easy. We just have to look back and look back longly on that day. They were the ones that were on the court.
That's right.
Dealing with it, and it'll only probably sting more in about 2 weeks when the anniversary comes up, and
somebody shows that. Yes,
with nothing else going on, it's going to be brought up to them and say, "Hey, were you in that game? Were you?"
Yes. Well, they should look on it with pride as well, because it was quite a run for that Southwestern team. So
that's key. And in fact, segue. You know what tomorrow's the anniversary of?
Please tell me.
Tabor Beer.
That is right.
For free. This call from Hammond, Oklahoma. I've listened to that call from Steve McTeer 50 times, and that was tomorrow. This day last year, or tomorrow a year ago. If that makes sense.
Yes, I think it does make sense. Tabor Beer for the win, by the way, over the defending national champions.
That's right.
So what a big game, a big win. And by the way, I've heard that call from Stephen McTeer, and I want to point out what a great broadcaster he is. A fantastic broadcaster. I enjoy listening to Stephen McTeer.
Yes, and it was all part of like a rewind, a recap of the week. He had mentioned that he would no longer be doing the Southwestern games this year. And, we had put a call into him saying, if you want to do anything with the GAC, not to kick you or Michael aside, but there are times where there's crossover. And
that's right.
Can't be in both Bentonville and Enid at the same time. So we've reached out to him, and hopefully if he's, finds himself in the area and we restart games, that he'll do work for us, or if one of our schools, finds an opening that, he'd have an easy time getting recommendations from anyone in the Southwestern community to have him
Oh yeah,
be part of their games, and hopefully it's a short hiatus for him before he's back behind the microphone.
Well, we'll go ahead and I don't know if I can GAC Weekly officially. I think we can. We can officially endorse him. We can officially endorse him. Yes, he's definitely worth the time. So proud of Steven and glad to be associated with him, not only on this broadcast, but I think with the GAC as well. Well, Eric,
I imagine he's been a frequent guest of the Midwest Sports Saturday.
He has. He's been on the broadcast on the Midwest Sports Saturday 2 or 3 times, and not just in Weatherford. He was in Durant this past August. Well, I mean, yeah, that's a long time ago now. Man, it seems like a lifetime ago right now. But yeah, he was there. And I think it's all but officially done that the 3rd season of Midwest Sports Saturday will start in, you ready?
Literally all
Weatherford, Oklahoma. Weatherford, Oklahoma. That's right. 2020 season should start in Weatherford, Oklahoma on a Thursday night because we love doing Midwest Sports Saturday on a Thursday.
Bring your signs.
Me too.
Bring your signs. Held them up behind Joey's head. They enjoy that. So while we're still on, I'm sure the viewership is just off the charts.
It has been up and down.
Huh. Speaking of, tomorrow last year, what we at the GAC are going to do in this time of no sports is we're going to do basically this day in GAC history from now until Memorial Day, which is about the last time we had competition. We're going to comb the archives of the stats. We're going to comb the old archives of the recaps and find the best performances basically every day from tomorrow to Memorial Day, and have them a daily feature up on the site from it. Obviously, tomorrow be a pretty big one going back to last year with Tabor Beer. I think the math is right, about 45 minutes earlier that day was Southeastern's overtime win at their first round of the NCAAs, where Kevin Buckingham, I think, had 43 and had a tying 3. And then later that day, Southern Nazarene hammered St. Cloud. First time we'd ever had 2 men's wins in the NCAA in the same day. Again, on top of Tabor's, Heroics, and Southwesterns. So we're going to start that tomorrow. So the GAC site will have daily content going forward for the next 8 weeks to prove that we are still trying to earn our paychecks. Like I said, we have a crack staff of SIDs and researchers going through and finding the very best that we've produced over these previous 9 years. So by all means, come check it out every day on the website, or we'll certainly be tweeting out in the daily story of what's gone on this day in the past.
And we will continue with GAC Weeklies, by the way. It just the week as it was, everything changed so much so quickly. It was tough to get a handle on it. And I really thought that I may have an opportunity to visit with Commissioner Will Pruitt, at one point of the week, and there just was no way. And so a shout out, by the way, if I may, and I don't know if he's watching or we'll get a chance to see this a little bit later on. The GAC has a fantastic commissioner. And Eric, I know you get to work with him very closely, but I know that he had and has the student athletes on his mind, on his heart, and really wants the best for all the student athletes, the coaches, everyone within the 12-member institutions of the Great American Conference. And it's been a lot that's been on his shoulders in the last 72 plus hours.
Yeah, and you can even see it. I think I was how it's GAC_commish. Soon after the basketball tournament, one thing he always hits home with him, especially, are the 4-year seniors. Every senior, it means so much, but the people that have been through this league for 4 years, he shouts out, I think, a handful of them after the basketball tournament, after each season's over. I still don't know how many others do that. It means something to him. It's something, if I'm ever in his role, I know I'm going to carry on. The fact that, we've got the idea of having schools actually punch their ticket physically.
Yeah, that was cool.
To the tournament. It was Katie Webb at Southeastern. She was the obvious choice to have them do it. I said we had a senior from Henderson. I believe it was Rel Johnson.
I think it was Rel Johnson. Yes.
And no one thinks that going in the conference tournament. They're thinking about cutting nets down or getting a trophy, but no one ever thinks that I get to actually push the button. And, it's becoming a growing tradition for us to find someone that does that. And I think if you go and look at the views of those things, they're wildly popular. It's
Right.
20 seconds that is like, wait, I get to do this? And then they push the button and then they see they're in. And it's just another, spontaneous celebration that, again, if others steal it, we know that we're going to claim we had it first. And someone else can just tell me differently. But, I do think that, every commissioner, every AD, every coach cares. But we have tangible proof of what he does that I think puts him, separates him, from the pack. He's a longtime Division II person. This is the division he's most comfortable with. So he knows, the games aren't on network television, but he knows the Aggies work just as hard, and they deserve the same shine that the Division I kids get.
That's exactly right. Well, we will continue the GAC Weekly, not from now on. This is, by the way, the longest GAC Weekly that we've ever had. That's right. You're a part of it, Eric. You're a part of it. We're setting records tonight on this GAC Weekly After Dark, and we will probably be doing some more. I like this. And it may be next Saturday or Sunday that we get a chance to talk with Eric Moyer again. Hopefully, we get a chance to talk with you, Eric,
and get to visit
with some more things.
To me, I mean, I'm always happy to do it. I'm the break glass in case of emergency guest. But there are a lot of other people you can talk to.
I understand that.
Bring me on whenever you want, but hopefully everyone else has already said no.
We'll find out, and hopefully we'll get a chance to visit with Commissioner Pruitt over the course of the next few weeks too, because I really would like to get his take on a lot of things. I would, and it is my goal, and it is my hope that 6 days from now, 7 days from now, we'll have other news to report. Now, again, please keep tuning in here on MidwestSports.net's YouTube channel, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please, that's right. Push the button right there.
Just did it.
There you go. Thank you. By the way, you just punched your ticket just like that. That's how easy it is to get into the NCAA tournament, right? Of course, you have to win, like a conference tournament and stuff like that. Anyway, but please do subscribe.
Liking your website, much easier to make the NCAA tournament.
Much easier. You can do that. So anyway, we're going to have more with the GAC Weekly 6 to 7 days from now. In the meantime, please keep coming back. I want to say thanks to my guest, Eric Moyer, tonight, Associate Commissioner for Communications in the Great American Conference. Eric, I know that you do a lot. You're one of those people within the conference that, it's fun to laugh with you because you're generally enjoying yourself and laughing as well. But we do appreciate what you do for the conference.
I appreciate that, Joey. It is a great joy to share GAC news to folks like you who are, who take the time to spotlight us. And we appreciate your coverage.
I may not be able to make it off the broadcast now.
For the last GAC,
there you go.
He was Joey McWilliams.
There we go. And don't forget, God bless you.